silly woman in her 30s trying to share some love. So today, let me just open up my PPT. We are going to discuss something that we're all familiar about, which is anger. A lot of people have anger issues. They just vent it out in different ways. There are side effects. There are not side effects, as in there are certain negative impacts of it. So we'll be discussing all about it and how to deal with it. So if anybody has any questions, they can actually stop me and ask me about it. So let me just share my presentation. So yeah, before we actually learn to cope with anger, we need to analyze it. But because any problem, before you solve it, we need to analyze it. Am I right? So here, first we'll need to find out what is actually anger, right? Is anybody able to hear me? Because I can hear no sounds.
Yes, we can.
Yeah, we can.
Yeah, you're audible.
Okay. So what is anger exactly? Can anybody tell me what is anger in a very brief way? Anyone?
Overwhelming emotion.
Sorry?
Emotions that are overwhelming and
Yeah.
cause a negative
Yeah.
consequence.
Yeah. So basically, anger, it could be, like I said, it's an emotion. It could be a reaction to something or someone. It's basically a very unpleasant feeling that we all get. It can also be a defense mechanism, right? This is basically anger. It's a sort of emotion. It's unpleasant as itself, and it sort of comes out as a reaction to some situation or as a person. Correct? Second is, why do we get angry? So if I have to summarize it, like I mentioned before, it could be either directed at a person or it could be a situation. For example, if it's at a person, there are multiple reasons which I mentioned below. It can come out as a result of frustrations, or it's like, let's say for example, if when in terms of situation, you're frustrated at a situation. Let's say you're waiting for a bus, you need to go somewhere, and the bus just doesn't come on time and you're getting more and more late. So the impatience or the frustration at the situation or the obstacle that you have to face will turn into anger. Or the simple thing, maybe you need to go out and you just can't find your car keys and you're getting more late. You just don't know what to do and you just can't find them. So then what you'll do, naturally you'll be shouting at your wife, your children, your brother, sister, where the hell is my key, like where is it, right? So basically it's a impatience that's bringing out the anger in you. It's a resultant event that happens based on a situation. Same way, when it is directed at a person, it could be of different other reasons. It could be because of mockery, like when someone tries to belittle you, makes fun of you, mock at you, you get angry. That could be one reason. The other thing could be a difference in opinion. We have fights because of difference of opinions all the time. It could be in office, it could be between siblings. I mean, sibling fight is like a very common thing. So these things are based on difference of opinions, because you hold something true to yourself and the other person says exactly the opposite. So there's a difference of opinion that leads to anger. When it is heated arguments and everything, that becomes a venting of the anger. The other reason could be on when you're being hurt or when you're injured or when you're jealous at something. Let's say, like it could be a physical hurt or it could be mentally someone hurt you. Someone says some very mean things to you, something that hurts you very badly. In turn, you become angry. Some people just cry out or something, but mostly it brings out the anger in you because you're being hurt emotionally and you don't like it. Like I said, it's a very unpleasant feeling. So these are the very basic reasons that you get angry at, right? Then the basic question is it bad to get angry? But like you said, we are all humans and it's only a normal human behavior to get angry, like any other emotions we have. We have fear, we have, we love, we hate something. These are all normal human emotions, And if you're angry, don't consider yourself, oh my god, I'm such a bad person, I got angry at someone. No, because we're all human. That just makes us more human, because otherwise you won't be a human, because these things are very human behaviors. It, and yes, if you ask me, is it bad to get angry? The process of getting angry, or the fact that you did get angry itself is not really a bad thing to happen. But what happens is how you act when you get angry. Like, if you get angry, how do people behave in different ways, depends on how you behave. If the behavior results in something bad, then yes. Same way, the third thing is, it's okay to get angry, but are you doing the right thing when you're getting angry? Do you actually transfer your anger to someone else? Let's say, like I said before, you lost your car keys, you got late to go to office, you're angry at something else. But when you reach the office, maybe that pent up anger, you're taking it on someone else. Maybe someone just asks you, hey, how was your day? And you're like, I don't really care, don't disturb me. That's a that's not how you should actually reply to them. They didn't do any harm to you, they did not. They were just asking, how was your day, or good morning, or something like that. They were just being nice to you. But because you got late previously, because you lost your car keys or you misplaced it, and that anger at a situation is coming out to that person, that is bad. Getting angry is not bad. But when you transfer the outcome of it to someone else who didn't even deserve it in the first place, then yes, that's not good. Another thing, how does it affect people? Like I mentioned before, if you say something like mean things, like someone asks you how was your day, and because of that you said, you know what, I don't care, don't disturb me and all, you will have, somehow ruin the relationship with you have with that particular colleague, or employee you have at work. It could be a relationship, it could be a husband wife relationship, it could be a sibling or a parent kid. So when you have anger, if you react very badly, or you take it out in a very negative way, that can cause problems at work or maybe relationships. And in total, that will actually affect your quality of life. Because if you keep doing the same thing, you redirect your anger at someone else, or you take it out in a very bad way, then that will bring out a negativity in your life, and will affect your quality of life. These are the effects of anger on people. Now, before you go further on dealing with, you need to know there are different ways every person reacts when they get angry. Because, like I said, we are all different human beings, we can't be same. I mean, it would be a very boring world if all of them were made similar, right? Because yeah, some get angry more, some get, some just cool down very fast, some take their own time. So everyone is made differently. Same way, when they get angry, they behave differently. Some just go quiet. Some people, if you notice, I don't know if you have, but some people, if you just shout at them or something, they just keep quiet, as if they don't want to say anything. They just feel bad for themselves, they don't react at all. That is one way of it. Some people, like I said, they'll just shout at you. Shouting is like very common when you get angry, because the first thing is you shout at them. You get angry, why do you shout? Have you ever thought about why do you shout? If you see two people arguing, like if you observe, both of them might be standing next to each other, but they're still. Any questions?
No.
Hello?
Continue,
No,
Okay.
continue,
Anija.
Anija.
Okay, so if you notice two people arguing or having a fight, you must have seen that they are basically standing next to each other, but they're shouting at the top of their voices. Why? Is it because, I mean, nobody really need to shout. If you talk normally, we have a normal tone of voice, which is not loud at all. Because if the person is standing very further away, then you'll have to shout, hey, hello, come here, whatever. But if the person is standing next to you, you don't really need to shout. Then why is it that when two people stand next to each other, that they shout? Because when they're angry, or when they're arguing with each other, mentally they're very distant from each other. They're mentally not close, even though the person might be a sibling. I might be fighting with my brother, let's say. He's very close to me, I am his sister. But when I'm fighting, I'm mentally far away. He's saying completely opposite of what I'm saying, I'm saying completely opposite of what he's saying. Our ideologies, or our concepts, they don't match. So we're mentally distant from the other person. Another reason that you shout is when you're actually saying two different or opposite things to each other, we feel the need voluntarily, we even subconsciously we feel the need to shout, because you're like, why is the person not listening to me? I have to maybe be loud so that the person will actually listen to me. This is something subconsciously going on. You don't realize it. It just comes out naturally. When you get angry, you shout because you want to make sure that the other person listens to me. So you increase the volume, you shout. That's one way. The third thing that people do when they get angry is throw things. They just smash things and punch things. I know a friend who was having difficulties in their marriage, and he once told me that when he got angry at something that his wife did, he literally punched the wall. I mean, that is a habit of his. Whenever he gets angry, he doesn't hit people, but he hits things or he punches things. That's how he vents out his anger. But yeah, end of the day, he'll go to the doctor and get a plaster done or whatsoever. But that's a totally different story. He'll just punch at things. That's how he wants to vent the anger. Some people throw things. If you have a phone, you're having a fight with someone. Yeah, I'm talking with my mom. I got some difference of opinion. I just I'm arguing badly at her. At some point, I got so angry, I just throw the phone. Again, that's one way to react to it. Another thing is that they insult each other. You start insulting each other, and when I say insult, it could be name calling or it could be very bad, which is verbal abuse. So when I say name calling, it's something really basic. Like if you have noticed two kids at school fighting over something, like two boys, they'll just say, you know what, you are a monkey, and the other guy will say, no, you are a monkey. Just name calling. But that's just okay, fine. Monkey is not a bad word, but again, I don't appreciate it. So when they grow up, when adults start name calling, they start using very bad names. They start, using verbal abuse. That's when it becomes insult and abuse, which is wrong. The two ways that I actually consider wrong when in terms of reacting in anger is, one is verbal abuse and one is physical abuse. You can punch for all you care, but when you hit the other person out of anger, you have crossed the limit. Same way, you can, when two boys are fighting over something in school, they're, you're a monkey, I'm a monkey, whatever. But when you're an adult and you start name calling, you start abusing, basically, that's just things are going out of control, because then it becomes a toxic relationship, whatever sort of relationship that is. It could be friends, it could be husband wife, it could be anything, but abusing and in terms of verbally and physically, not appreciable. So that's one way the people react. Last and the least is they cry. They just don't want to fight, and they just don't like the fact that their other person is not listening to you, so they end up crying. So these are the way people behave when they get angry. If you see physically, like what happens in our body, what happens when you're angry, people usually, in movies or books, if you say, how do they describe anger? My blood was boiling and my eyes were red. But do you really think that's possible? That's just stupid stuff. No, that doesn't happen. Come on, nobody's blood boils. That's just a figure of speech that you say that you're getting angry. Blood never boils. Your eyes never turn red. That physically what happens is our body is actually shifting into its next gear when you get angry. Like if you're riding a car to a slope, if with a slope coming up, you have to change the gear to move further. Same way, when you get angry, what happens is your heart starts pumping more blood. So when you start pumping more blood, there's an increased blood flow. There's a rush of blood. You have a sudden adrenaline rush. Same way, some people even start sweating. The same thing what happens when you work out. When you work out, also when you do cardio, what happens is when your heart starts pumping more blood, the blood flow increases, the body temperature increases, and then you start sweating. Same way, when you get angry, the heart starts pumping more blood, and you probably sweat sometimes you have clenched fist and everything, because you're angry. Again, that just happens naturally. You don't consciously want to clench your fist. It just happens when you get angry naturally. Can some of you actually tell me some instance? I don't have to, it doesn't have to be elaborate. You can just say a scenario or a situation when you actually got angry at someone, or when you notice someone else getting angry? Can someone tell me their experience on anger issues? Am I
When you're
audible?
accused, when you're accused without any justification.
Yeah. Yes.
When you have been accused without any justification.
Okay. So did that something like that happen to you? Did you see someone else arguing or fighting, getting angry at something? Have you witnessed someone doing it?
No, I had one instance when one of the juniors in my office, she was mentioning that I was not present in the office one particular day
Mm.
when I was actually present, and I had actually interacted with her and given her some data on that particular day. So that is brought up for
Okay.
some other reason. So I was got very irritated because she's just saying things off the
Okay. Okay. So yeah, these whenever these situations happen, yeah, you tend to get angry. That's only fair. It's like I said, a human behavior. But sometimes, just like I mentioned before, you may realize that one of the person, it could be both the persons, but that's very rare. But usually one of the person might feel bad. You know what? I should not have done that. I should not have said that. Or maybe I went a little too beyond the limit. So when you feel that, what should you do? What should you actually do when you feel that, you know what, I'm getting angry? So first things first, like Fahima said about, mindfulness and how breathing was a very important part of it. Even when you get angry, breathing plays a very important part, because when you start taking long breaths, the heart pumping slows down. Like I mentioned, when you get angry, it's all, our nervous system, our other, cardiac system, everything is related. Our body is like a big intermediate, like it's all interlinked. Same way, when you get angry, when your heart starts pumping more blood, which is why you feel the heat, you feel the temperature increasing, all that. So when you start breathing, you actually are calming down your heart. Like you're taking long breaths and you exhale and inhale. Same way, when you do that, the pumping, the speed of the pumping, it comes back to the normal. That's what happens. So same way, like Faima said, when you breathe, your body is actually calming. It calms the entire, body down. So let's say someone said something about you, and we are all humans. We know for a fact that yes, my there's a cue to my anger. I am going to get angry. She is going beyond the limit. She should not have said things like that to me or done to me. You're about to get angry. Start breathing. So when you realize, I know it's a very not so practical. It's always easy to preach, and when it starts time to practice, it's not really that easy. But I'm not saying if from now on every time you get angry you start breathing. No, you can, whenever you do remember, try making it into a practice. So when you realize that yes, it's going to make me angry, start breathing, start taking long breaths, try calming you down. Another thing you can do is count. I have actually, this is something that I have done personally. When I know that I am trying to, I'm about to get angry, what I do is I start counting. The thing is, like I said, you're tricking your mind. So when you're angry, these things happen in your body. So when I actually, start counting, let's say I'm starting counting from 1 to 50, I'm like 1 2 3 inside my head. You don't have to speak out loud. So when you count, your half the attention is being diverted, your focus is diverted to counting the numbers. So that somehow affects you. So the mind is tricked into doing something else, which is why you don't really, you can actually call it a delaying process. You are slowing it down. The process of, let's say someone gets angry too fast, if they start counting, it just slows down the process. And somehow when you start to slow down, you just lose focus over what was the whole point of getting angry in the first place. And another thing, uh, i'll just I'll just narrate an example. When you get angry, especially in workplaces or a public place, if you have noticed two people arguing, the first thing that comes to your mind is, oh my god, what are they arguing? You'll just hear about what are they speaking about. If Yes, and then we will start analyzing who might be the right person. You know, hearing to the story, they are actually talking about each other. You probably will be okay. This person, but imagine one thing. Let's say one person is the only one who's shouting. Let's say they are blaming the second person. They're like, how could you do this and that and everything, and the other person is remaining, like quiet and silent. They're not shouting, they're not name calling, they're not doing anything, they're just simply looking at them and probably not reacting at all, and just in a normal, the facials, just nothing is changed at all. So when you see one person shouting and one person not reacting, who would you naturally support? You would always feel that, what, the second person is being mistreated. That person doesn't deserve to be shouted at. That's like a sympathy feeling, or like a natural instinct of your own coming out. So that is one thing I have to say. So when it could work in your favor, when in a situation when the situation is about to get worse and two people are about to argue, if you decide not to get angry, if you decide to take long breaths, calm yourself down, even in the surrounding area, whoever is witnessing the fight, they will feel, okay, fine, this person is so calm, is so composed. Maybe he is actually right. Why is this person shouting at this poor guy or a poor girl, right? That is the first thought that will come to your head. It will actually help you in the situation. So the lesser you get angry, the better for you. I'm not saying don't get angry at all. There are certain situations where it will never be in your control, you will end up getting angry, but you can try to trick your mind. You can actually control your anger by doing these things. You can start counting one to, nobody's going to know what you're doing inside your head, right? If somebody is just doing just, and the fight is not even worth it, they're just saying lame stuff and everything, no issues. Go ahead, take few deep breaths, start counting from 1 to 50, as long as it takes. I'm not saying exactly to 50, but as long as you realize, okay, fine, I'm not angry anymore, till then you can doing it, or do whatever it is that you can do to help you keep calm. I can actually quote an incident that I know. In my last office, there was this new guy who had taken up a senior position at my office, and the other person, like, we all are employees, and I had a team lead. He was also serving in the company for almost 6 to 7 years, let's say, yeah, 7 8 years. And then we had a shifting to a new office premise. Now the new guy who joined recently, he's at a senior most position, he's an operations manager or something, and then he's like, in the new office he gave designated places for each and every employee. He sort of like stuck employee numbers on the chairs and everything, and he said everybody should be sitting in their own chairs. But because the office space is extra big and we have enough space, more than enough space for number of employees we have, they decide to sit in whichever random places they wanted to sit. And then this guy comes in, this new guy who recently joined, and then he looked at the team lead and he asked, why are you sitting there? I already gave you a designated space, why can't you sit there? And he's like, no, I'm comfortable here, I want to sit here. And then there was an argument. He literally shouted at the team lead, just because he thought maybe he's in a senior position, I guess. He started shouting at this team lead guy, like, how could you do this? If you don't follow, how are the others going to follow? And there was a big scene in the office premise. But like, he was a good guy, but later he realized he should not have done that and everything. And what I would have said is, okay, fine, you wanted your employees to follow you, fair enough, but the method he chose was wrong. You should not get angry, and that too especially in a space like that. And this guy, the team lead guy, he did not say anything. He was very calm, he just listened to it. And then at the end of the argument or whatever, he said, listen, I choose to keep sitting here. If you have a problem, please email it to me, we can discuss it further. And because he wanted to keep it very official, he's not the head of the organization anyway, but yeah, what I'm trying to say is, instead of creating a scene and having an argument right there in front of every employee, he could have just said, you know what, hey, can you just come to my cabin, I need to discuss something with you. And then in the cabin he could have said, you know what, if you don't follow, how do you expect the others to follow? You are a team lead, and do it for your own sake or whatever. That would have been a better approach. But since the whole scene happened where he got angry and he shouted at the person, the entire employees would be supporting the team lead instead of this guy. Sooner or later, it can also lead to him losing the job, because if a higher superior, CEO, or whatever, they'll ask feedback about the new guy, all of us, other employees probably would support the team lead and not the new guy. So that's what I'm saying. So when there is a fight, it's always safe to be calm and quiet and very, composed. There might be 100 things going inside your head, but you can always control them if you want to. Correct? So you can either start counting. You can count from 1 to whichever number you want to, as long as you know that yes, I have come down. I have no more, anger coming up. I'm at peace. Same way, you can start taking deep breaths. That's the basic and the most easiest thing you can do. Now, after you have had a fight, let's say it was not in your hands, you didn't even have the time to think or even take deep breaths or calm yourself down, but it has already happened. So whatever happened just happened, you can't do anything about it. But no, you can do something about it. First is, if let's say you have an argument and you still are like, I should have said this, I should have said that, why didn't I say it, I lost the time, I should have, you have all sorts. And sometimes even when the whole argument is over, you feel bad about it, like how can the other person do such thing to me, say such things to me. It's, and some, if you don't treat that, which is why I said the first aid is required. If you don't treat that, if you don't give first aid to that feeling, it can come out in your work also. You probably will not be focused enough to work later. You'll not be interested to do anything, like, oh my god, what can I do, right? So it can impact your productiveness also. So the first aid is also necessary. So if you want to calm down and if you just don't want to think about it further, you can redirect the anger or the pent up feeling or these things to a productive thing, something that can divert your mind from it. It could be music. Just listen to some songs that makes you feel better. Or if you're in your own private space, if you're a dancer, you can dance it out. Work out if you're interested in working out. And when I say working out, it doesn't have to be like hardcore workout. You can do something basic, like you can, if you don't want to do planks and everything, just do a skipping or go bicycling. If not at all, just go out for a walk and come down, have some fresh air. I'm not saying it will completely calm you down, but yes, it will come down a few degrees. Another thing you can do is just write it down. And maybe this is something I used to have a personal diary, like kids have this diary. So I used to write down my things. That was one way. It felt like I was talking to someone without actually talking to someone. So you can write it down. Today this happened, this person this said this to me and I feel so bad. You can actually write down. And somehow that actually, my habit of writing diary has helped me start a blog later. So it can come down to a good thing in the later years. So that's one way you can deal with your anger, pent up anger, once you have finished this thing. And the most basic and the best thing you can do is apologize. If you realize that you are wrong in your part and that the other person didn't deserve it, or like I said, it could be something that you did out of something else and a situation triggered you, but you redirected the anger at someone who didn't deserve it, and then the whole relationship went bad. In that case, when you realize, the first and foremost thing is you go and apologize. I know it's not hard, I mean it's not easy either, but when you apologize, trust me, it feels better. And it could be like the instant you realize, you can go apologize. That is first thing. But most people will have a issue like, oh my god, how should I go talk to him, talk to her, let him talk to me first, then I'll talk to him. That's one thing, that's your ego holding you down. But if you apologize once, you just have to take the first step. The rest is easy. It's like working out only. Like the first week you'll be, again next week I'll start working out, another again next Monday I'll start but if you start doing it, the first day it'll be tough, but then you'll get used to it. Same way, once you apologize, the first time it'll be difficult. You'll be like, no, I don't want to go, let him come, let her come. But no, if you want to do it, just do it. And then once you do it, it'll feel better. And again, another thing is, when you say sorry, when you apologize to the other person, don't expect the person to be like, yeah, fine, it's okay. No, not everyone will be okay right away, because Let's say this fight happened in the morning. By afternoon, you realize, you go ahead and you say sorry. The other person doesn't really have to calm down in the same amount of time that you did. Probably the person will take another entire day to let go of the things you said. So give that person some time. That's what you can do. If you want the person to get back to you, if you want the relationship to be, good, then you can give the person some time. So these are the few things you need to be doing as a first date. After you finish the fight, you can just divert your anger, cool down, and then maybe write it down. And then when you realize, if you realize that yes, I was wrong, then you can go ahead and apologize. That's a very 3-step method. That's like a 3-step first date. And again, this is something I may digress from this topic for a little bit, excuse me, but I'll come back to it. So when you apologize, it doesn't have to be based on the relationship. Yes, sisters and brothers, friends, colleagues, husband, wives. One thing you've never seen is parents and kids. I don't know if you know. Yeah, kids usually they say sorry to the parents, but how many of you can say that the parents also apologize to the kids? I don't know. I don't think so many can. And when I say the parents should apologize to the kids, it's
Yeah,
not because,
Anija,
yeah,
yeah, 1 minute I want to speak to you. You told us about the apologize, right?
yeah,
Yeah, you were telling about apologize. What I does it to avoid
mm,
lot of situations, I
mm,
just apologize to the concerned person.
mm,
So that problem will not come more worse. No matter whatever it is it the problem of me or the concerned person? I always
yes.
does the same.
That's a really good thing actually, because not all people are accustomed to saying sorry in the first
Yeah,
place. Some people will be like,
yeah,
no, I was right, the other person should be saying sorry. No, not really. So many people can say, you know what, I'm the first one to apologize. That's actually a really good habit, because
yeah,
that will not only help the relationship, but will also boost your confidence. You feel better about yourself. Imagine when you first say sorry, you feel great. You know what, I'm a better person.
yeah. Very
Correct.
true. I feel that what I have done is not wrong. That's what I feel when I apologize to them.
Yes, but still
Because
you feel great that you did it anyway.
yeah, thank
Okay.
you. Thanks. Can
Yes.
continue now. Yeah.
Yeah. So when I say about apologizing, like I mentioned, how often do you see parents apologizing to their kids? We can say hardly, like very hardly, because I'm not saying I think it's a lost practice, maybe, I don't know, but I would say, I'm not saying the parents should not be punishing their kids for what they did wrong. Obviously, if the children does something bad, if the children does something that deserves punishment, you can decide whatever. You can warn them. You can, some people, they'll be like, no food for one time. It could be different methods. That's just parents choice. But when you say things, hurtful things to your kid by not even realizing it, you should also understand that those statements will have an impact on the kids. It may not be something that you did on purpose. It just comes out of anger. It could be something very simple, like let's say the kid scored very little marks compared to the neighbor's kid, and then you're like, oh my god, how come you are my kid? Look at the other kid. I in Hindi we say, क्या खा के मैंने तुझे पैदा किया? I mean, some people say that, and in Malayalam we say, "Ninneke prasavikkunna samayathu valla vaazha natta madiyarthu." You say things like that. It's not. I'm saying it as a joke right now, but when you say things like this, even in terms of comparing with the kid, with the other guy or whatever, somehow the kids do get affected. I'm not saying this exact statement. It could be anything that makes the kid feel that I'm not good enough, anything that makes the kid like, oh my god, she doesn't like me, my mom doesn't like me, my dad doesn't like me. So it's okay, you can scold your kid, you can punish them, but if you accidentally realize that, you know what, this statement, oh, I should have heard, you can actually find out, it's your kids, you can notice how they react to your statements. So if you feel that I may have gone a bit above or beyond the belt by saying this, you can actually go to them and say, you know what, I said this, but I didn't really mean it. Okay, you can do better. I mean, yeah, the neighbor's kid scored more, so what, big? Nothing, big deal, no big deal. Okay, fine. And I said like this doesn't mean you're any less than that kid. Okay, I didn't mean it. you're a good kid. So whatever, in which I can't really explain the whole dialogue or conversation that you should have with your kids. That's totally up to you, but I can only guide. I can say that if you do apologize for things like this, normally not parents do that, but if you do, trust me, the kids will start to open up to you more. I'm not saying the kids don't. Some kids do, some just won't, because they feel like if I do tell them, anyway they don't like me, they'll just come, just turn it out into a negative thing about me, and probably he'll scold me again. But it's a good practice. So when you have to apologize, irrespective of the type of relationship you have with the person, it's always nice to apologize. I mean, like I said, fighting cannot be, or arguing or getting angry. These things cannot be, stopped. You can't really have a control over the situation. Sometimes it just happens. I fight with my mom all the time, like all the time. It could be something very lame as, pointless and silly, like why can't you put oil on your head? That could be the easiest and the silliest fight that we must have had. Okay, so it's okay, but kids and parents and friends and partners, we have fights with each other all the time. It's only fair. But sometimes you need to realize, like I said, when my mom said, why can't you put oil on your hair, I am not okay with it. I just, it's a humid climate, I don't want to put, that's my choice. But it's sometimes parent needs to realize, or the kids need to, all of us needs to realize, sometimes it's okay not to be okay. Every time everything can't be perfect, so it's fine. So fights will happen, that is inevitable. Fights will happen, arguments will happen, difference of opinions will come, but it's all coming down to how you react to it. The basic thing, like I said, it should be, if you can always apologize. If you feel that you are wrong, even then you can apologize. If you feel you're right, also you can apologize. But like I said, it's a very difficult thing to practice, because most of us will have the ego issues. No, I was right, why should I say sorry? Let him say sorry, let her say sorry. If you feel like that, what I suggest is, you think about some of the good things that person has done for you, or the good memories you have with that person, and analyze, was the fight worth losing that person in your life? Is the person more important, or the being right in the fight more important? You have to actually assess, like, which do you consider better? Is it worth losing him or her? If it's not, why not apologize, right? There's nothing wrong. You don't really become any less of a person if you apologize. In fact, you become more of a person. It's no, people say, people who apologize are weak. No, people who cry their emotions, no, only who can accept the fact that, what, I can forgive the person. That's like a big quality in a person itself. Now, like I said, when you say sorry, you have to give the other person also some time to sort things out. You can't expect that he should also calm down within the same amount of time as I do. Same way, like I said before, you have to decide whether you want to let go. There are some situations, I'm not saying in every situation you have to go ahead and say sorry, and even though you are not wrong, you have to say sorry. There are certain situations where you are very sure that you are completely right and the other person was wrong. In that case, it's only fair. Like, if I like I say an excuse, recently, one of the packages I ordered from Amazon or something got delivered, and the guy who was coming with the package was in a mini van or something, and there were two guys involved. And because I was having my lunch, I asked my mom to go pick it up. She was standing at the gate while I was having my lunch, and this guy calls up and says, I can't turn the vehicle, it's a small road. And she says, no, no, there's enough space, you can come and turn the vehicle. And when the guy came, it was a minivan. And my mom was like, is this the van you're talking about, that you couldn't turn the vehicle? And the guy got so angry. He probably was drunk. In Kerala, mostly it happens. So, so when the guy was drunk, and probably he got angry at the smallest statement that my mom made, and he started calling, what the hell do you know about driving, lady, and like all that stuff. So, and he literally used some abusive words. In these situations, yes, you're the one right and the guy is wrong. So yes, these things, we complain later at the agency that there's a rude behavior from the person. So these things, in these situations, yeah, you were right. There's no need to apologize to the guy because he was the one who was abusing. And like this thing, when it comes to physical abuse or verbal abuse, that just goes out of the line. But otherwise, if you take normally, we don't have these kind of fights on a daily basis. Mostly the fights that we have are either, like I said, sibling rivalry or a partner opinion issues, or just office employee issues, some anything like that. So when these things happen, you have to make sure: do you really want the person to leave from your life? Do you really have a position of that person in your life? Does he matter? Does she matter? Then yes. Why don't you say sorry? So you can think about the good things the person have done. Like I said, every fight is going to happen. You just have to control what to do about it, how to go about it. So you think it through, and then you ask yourself, like, what triggered me, what made me go to this extreme level. Why did I get angry? You know what are your cues for getting anger, right? Another thing is, you can talk it over with your someone, a confidant, or a friend that you really trust, any adult. I usually discuss things with my mom. If I have a fight with my friend, I'll come back, mom, she said this, I said that, we had. So yeah, so then she will give me her perspective. Like I said, when actually you are having a trouble with letting go and apologizing to the person because you feel that you are right, why not take a third person's perspective, right? Because when you are only see one side of the situation. People say, right, walk a mile in other person's shoes. Same way. So when you narrate the incident to a third person, they will give their perspective, like what exactly happened. They will have some insights, they will have some things to say that you never even noticed in the first place. That way you can gain more perspective and maybe understand, yeah, maybe I was right, or maybe that person was right. Correct? So that is one thing you can always do. You can always talk to someone that you trust. Another thing is, you have, like I said, you have to look at their viewpoint, walk a mile in their shoe. What was the other person thinking? Why did they get angry? Why did she say exactly the statement to me when I didn't even trigger her in any way? So those are things you can consider doing. End of the day, I will always say, like this last statement, don't give others the powers to define you. Because see, other person might call you, oh, you're a bad person, you're a negative, you don't work enough, you're not productive, you're not doing this, you're not doing that, you're sad, you're upset, you're a very bad, in whichever way. I'm not using the exact descriptions, but people might say very mean things, the most mean and hurtful things to you. But don't let that affect you, is what I'm saying. Just if you start believing everything what others tell you, especially when they have a fight, you're going to demotivate yourself. You don't let others define you. You are the one who decides who you want to be. A lot of people will say a lot of bad things. I'll say some a small story, like, not even a story, it's just like an example. If you see an elephant walking on the road, okay, it will walk on its own pace slowly, keeping one leg after the other. And then you can, let's say there's a dog who's just barking at the elephant for no reason. Usually dogs bark at anything that they don't really understand, or because they are seeing a huge animal, they are threatened, so they will bark. The dog is barking at the elephant. Have you do you see an elephant turning back and looking at the dog? No. A lot of dogs will bark. You don't really have to bother. The elephant will still walk on its own pace. Doesn't really bother it. Same way, people will say a lot of bad things about you. You don't have to all take it. Criticism, when I say, okay, about something that you did, if you're asking the person, what, how was this? How do you think it was? Then if the person is giving a feedback about it, yeah, consider it. But other than that, when it comes to attacking your personality, or it's like a character assassination, or in any sort of bad way to make sure that you feel bad about yourself, if they say something like that, no, you don't have to consider it. They don't know what you have been through, they don't know who you are, they don't know what your situations were. So if they can judge you for whatever reasons they have, you don't have to let that affect you. So end of the day, when you fight, if someone is just blaming you for something you've never even done, don't consider. If you are sure that you did the right thing, like someone just said now that she was being blamed by someone in her office. So if you are sure that you did right and you have the proofs and the things to prove that you were there in the office or you were attending this particular meeting, if you have proof enough to do that, then you don't have to feel threatened by what someone else says. When the time comes, you can produce it and prove yourself correct. In that way, she just will feel bad. I'm not saying everybody should do the same. Again, the situations, the scenarios, the places, everything will differ. But again, at the end of the day, it's up to you to calm down and take a very decent, a very matured approach to how you deal with the anger. Now, like I said, when you feel angry, it's always good to turn your anger, energy, whatever that you're angry on, into some good thing, something productive. Like channel your anger into a physical activity. If you feel so frustrated, like let's say you did something, you did whatever you had to, but it's still bothering you in some way, this fight was so bad, I missed out saying a lot of things, I could have said this, I could have, it's kind of eating you out. So in that case, you can actually channel your anger into something that is productive, some kind of physical activity. You can, like I said, if you're a dancer, play the music, start dancing, or just go work out, like if you want to. That is something, again, I can only narrate my experiences. I feel that some might be able to relate to this, which is why I'm sharing it. Doesn't have to be the same with everyone. In my case, recently I started working out. Like I wanted to lose some weight, and I started around 15th of September. It's my fourth 28 28 days so far, and I've lost 3.5 kgs. And initially it was hard, and my mom was like, how do you do this, when I see you working out in the morning and that too planks and everything, how can you stay like that for so long, for 1 minute and all. And I had one answer to tell her. I told her that there were a lot of people who might have hurt you, who might have said hurtful things to you, who might have let you down, insulted you at some points. When you do something, so when I work out, I actually think of these situations, those memories, those faces. So I think about them, and I don't even realize how the time is going further. So if I'm doing a plank, I'll just complete 1 minute without even realizing it, because I'm thinking about those people. So I kind of use it, my anger, or I'm not saying I'm keeping it inside, but I use that to get something good out of it. So end of the day, in 3 weeks or 4 weeks, I lost 3.5 kgs thanks to my anger. So what I'm trying to say is, use your anger as a fuel to do something good. Use it in a physical activity, it'll just come naturally. Because when you do that, personally speaking, I'm not saying I mean everybody has bad experiences. In my case, when I was a kid, when I was in school, I was very thin, like very thin, and my mom used to get me clothes from ready made uniforms. So uh, I would be very slim, and the sleeves and the dresses would be very big, much like as if I'm wearing an XL size. So people used to, not people, the kids in my school used to call me scarecrow, because I literally look like a scarecrow. So yeah, these things, when you, but I never had to. It changes naturally when you grow up and you fit into your clothes and whatever. But these things, it's not anger, I would say, but it's like a bad moment. But yeah, at some point you get frustrated. So those feelings, I would actually turn it into my fuel, is what I'm saying. So use them, use whenever those situations happen and you get angry, those pent up emotions that you have to take it out somewhere, use those things as a fuel, turn it into something productive. And it's only natural, because everybody, I mean, I have not known a soul who has not got angry in their entire life. Everybody at some point in their life, they'll get angry, because that's just how we are made. We are human. But the difference comes, like how, what you do about it, how you handle your anger. Correct? So it's just, like I said, get a grip. You need to be in control of your anger. Your anger does not need to control you. Now, like I said, when you find yourself angry, the only behavior that you can actually control is your own. You can't control how the other person will react, what the other person is going to say, what the other person is going to do. You can only manage your own behavior. So whenever you get angry, pay attention to that anger cues and that start playing your tricks. Start playing tricks on your own mind. Like I said, start counting numbers, start breathing, start taking deep breaths. You're playing tricks on your own mind so that you can let go of that anger that's somehow emerging from inside. You're just going to, it's like a flame that you kind of diminish it by trying to playing, change your attention to something else like counting. So if you ever feel like you're going to lose it, try these things. Because like the statement, anger is just one letter short of danger. That's very basic, because if anger goes out of control, like I said, it becomes verbal abuse. You start, physical abuse. That it just becomes dangerous for both the other person and also you, and it for your entire life in the next future. So be careful. Try to follow these steps as much as you can. I'm not saying it's very easy. Let's say tomorrow you get angry and you're like, oh, Anija taught me to do this, I'm going to do this. It's not possible instantly, but you can gradually put it into practice. Whenever that you remember that it's happening, you can start doing the things. You can count or you can breathe. Both the things will help you achieve. And end of the day, like I said, when you say sorry, does not mean you're any lesser of a person. Always try and be the first person to apologize, and trust me, you'll see a lot of changes in the relationships. So this is what I have wanted to share with you from my experiences and my the stories that I have seen is what I have known. So I hope you liked and enjoyed the session, and maybe you will be able to take away something from this entire presentation, hopefully. So that's all about it.
Thanks a lot, Anija. So, as a wind up, I would like to add on to what she said. It it all boils down to understanding the concept of anger, or as a matter of fact, any emotion. Can any of you tell me what or where does emotion occur? Emotions like happiness, sadness, anger, feelings like frustration, irritation. In which part of the body does it originate?
The mind,
Where is the mind in the body?
a brain.
The brain. Okay, good. Any other ideas on this? What causes the emotions to emerge in our body?
Hormones.
Right, doctor? Oh, you are here, Dr. Ashika. Good. So, Dr. Rahul is also here, but under doctors,
Yeah, we all need.
and
Glad we have a doctor's perspective.
yeah, and we also have a qualified counselor. Fahima is also here. Good. So yeah, it's hormones. Okay. So we need to understand that emotions, it doesn't happen only in brain. Brain triggers it. It is the hormones which rush across entire body through the blood, which makes us to experience that emotion. When someone who loves you comes and hugs you, okay, happy hormones like oxytocin and serotonin are released. That gives you that feeling of, that goody goody feeling, and that caring, that being cared for feeling. It comes from that. Anger is again a hormone triggered thing, in which hormones like testosterone, even in ladies, the
It
testosterone
rises,
level
yeah.
goes high, cortisol goes very high, and that is what causes us to get angry. Now, the bigger challenge with anger is it is like, imagine if, God forbid, I and Adya are fighting with each other. We got angry with each other and we are fighting. Okay, Adya? So, um, if I am angry at her, okay, it is like holding hot charcoal in my hand, which I want to throw at her. Okay, so anger is something which is making me take, burning charcoal in my hand, and my aim is to throw it at Adya because I'm angry at her. What I don't realize is that anger, like this charcoal, is burning me. It is damaging me physically the time that it is with me. And it is possible that when I throw the charcoal at Adya, she may duck. It wouldn't even,
Yeah.
which means when I throw my anger on her, I may not get the expected response from her. Like Anija was telling that, experience from her office where it could have been handled in a better manner. So the person on whom the anger was showered, he did not react in a in a negative manner. He handled it in a more passive way. So just like that, when anger is a emotion which has been created in our body, we are damaging ourselves. High levels of cortisol and other stress hormones actually causing us negativity within us. One thought on that itself can bring down the anger considerably. Every time get angry, think of put charcoal in my hand and I am burning myself. More than damaging the other person, you may end up damaging yourself in that point. Second, anger, okay, it's only a symptom. One way of showing the symptoms of pain, dissatisfaction, even jealousy. People are angry because they get jealous of some other people. So the actual reason behind anger may be something else. So we always think of anger, and I like the way she was telling, we should always, Anija said we should apologize to people. Apologize. Apologize for being angry. Apologize for the incident. So it is possible that you may be on the right. Okay. You got angry with someone for a justified reason. But you don't have to apologize for the reason that you got angry, but you can apologize for being angry on that.
Being angry.
That was something which could have been controlled. So emotions like this, negative emotions, can be controlled by having a conscious thought that it is the brain which is triggering hormones to play, and it is the hormone which goes out and plays. And I like one of the biggest takeaway for me is Anija's way of telling that we should use our anger instead of breaking ourselves down to building ourselves up. Like how she, when she does the plank and she's getting burnt out, she thinks of, that
Memories from her past.
her anger against people. But Anija, at that point, you are not angry with that person because anger is momentary.
Yeah.
Till the time the hormones are built up in that point, you are angry. And for that, you need a trigger.
Yeah.
Trigger can be intrinsic, which means I can get frustrated with myself. I can get angry with myself. Some people do self-harm because they get angry with themselves. Okay.
Yes.
It can be extrinsic, but there has to be a trigger. Without trigger, you cannot get angry. And this anger can be settled in ourselves in terms of it may change itself. It can become a vengeance against a person, which can be used. It can become a sadness within us, which can linger for a long period of time. That anger gets converted because it's a temporary thing, right?
Yeah.
And then it gets converted. So I like that way of utilizing our vengeance, our sadness, or any of the other feelings, which is a result of that emotion, to build ourselves up rather than breaking. All right.
Correct.
This is my 2 cents on what I wanted to, add on to what she said. Let's invite opinions from others. So give your thoughts on the session today, please.
Well, I would like to just share my experience. Anybody started?
Fahima, go ahead.
Is it okay? Somebody else is. Yeah, okay. Well, first of all, it was a very good session, Anija. Well done.
Thank you.
And it was a very good topic. I think it's always relevant because we all have anger management issues once in a while. And my takeaway from your session was, as Arun sir had said, about building ourselves. Even though anger is a negative emotion, we can't say it is a negative all out. I mean, it's not a fully we cannot say it's a bad emotion, because sometimes we can use anger for constructive purposes, like as you said rightfully that when your mom was abused, like they used verbal abuse, and in that cases you just can't be very nice to them, and you have to. So maybe when you get angry when you see some sort of injustice happening, Okay, nowadays every time you look at the news, you find all this atrocities against women, and as a woman myself, I really feel angry. That is my first emotion. Though I can't show it on anybody, I can. All I can do is, mentally I can get angry, and I can at least, for a moment I can have some sort of hatred towards what's happening around. So I won't say that anger is a very bad emotion as it is, but the way you channelize it, and that is my the best part of your I think towards the end you were saying that how you can channelize it, and every time you do something you have this as a trigger to improve yourself. Like I've heard a lot of people, maybe the celebrities, the Hollywood actresses are not telling, I think I remember one of the speeches of Kate Winslet, the Titanic actress. She was saying while she was getting trained as an actress, she had a lot of people mocking at her, saying that you will never make it, because she was a bit on the she was not very skinny. She's not having the kind of figure that she wanted. So she was telling during her one of the interviews, look at me now, So that is because she was using that anger and all that for making herself better. So like that. And one thing I wanted to say, you had asked, like, what about as parents, do you say sorry to your children? I would say yes, I do say sorry, and it has made a lot of difference in my children. I would like to share my experience that initially we have the ego, like why should we say sorry to children? But the minute we say sorry, the child also learns to say sorry more often. They understand that if mama can be sorry, why not me? Okay, because my son, I think even children have a lot of ego actually. They have this, when I when he says say sorry, they don't say sorry. They say, why should I be sorry? So if we model it for them, we should be good models. So I think personally, I agree with that point that we should make, it a habit and show them how it is done, just by teaching them to say sorry wouldn't do it's not enough. And I feel my son has a lot of change ever since I started saying sorry to him. And he makes sure that I say sorry. He says, Mama, you have to be sorry. And then I say, yes, okay, I'm sorry. And I feel so good. We both feel good, actually. The person who says sorry also is feeling good. It's like you put down some load or something from your mind. Otherwise, it will not haunt you all the time. Especially, I remember my mom used to come and give me a kiss once after she gave me a, kiss of her mind. I'll get sad, I go and sleep, okay, but I'll pretend like I'm sleeping, and she comes and gives me a silent kiss, and I would have known it, and I cherish it actually. So I think that was the style back then. But I think nowadays we as parents, I think we are more we have to be more, we have to learn from our mistakes of maybe what our parents did. There's nothing wrong about saying sorry, I think, to our children especially. Anyway, this is my takeaway. So anyway, thanks a lot. It was a very good session. Though I had some technical issues, I was able to hear. Yeah. So thank you.
Adina, what do you have to say?
For me, the takeaway from here was giving a caption to what we all do when we try to deal with anger and delay it was the first aid for anger. That really that really was quite interesting to know that how anger needs first aid, and all of us try to do it in our sort of a way. Every individual has a different way of doing it, but now knowing that I can term it as giving first aid to my anger. That was interesting to know. Thank you, Anija. That was very nice.
Yeah, thank you.
Who else? Who wants to give you?
Hi, Anija. Aishwarya here.
Okay.
I mean, I was really impressed. I was taken away by the presentation because you tried and pumped in a lot of ideas which we never thought of. So thanks a lot. It was really interesting, and I think the next time I get to go overboard with anger, I'm sure all this will come to my mind. Thanks a lot.
You're welcome.
All right. From the men here.
Hello.
Nelson or Dr. Rahul? Yeah, Nelson.
Yeah, yes. Soumya is there. I just wanted to add on that query by Soumya. Actually, Soumya, I think she already left.
Yeah, she just left.
Yeah, she was asking about that apology part. Once we are apologizing, it again continues, and the person who apologizes continues to apologize all the time. So I think my observation is like it's a game actually. It's a mental game, or it's a subconscious. It is we are playing in a subconscious mind.
Right.
So the thing, obviously in every case, I'm talking about the frequent fights, not about an accidental fight which are having anger, which is having in the road and all. It
Right.
is between spouses, between children, between the offices
Yes.
and all. Whatever
Right.
is happening, it is a game. We know what exactly, what time exactly that person will be getting angry. We know what exactly the after effects of that. We know what time we will be going in the normal mode.
Right.
Everything we know. It is all programmed actually.
Right.
So if you start apologizing, obviously you should expect to apologize all the time. It is like that only. It's not in that particular case. All the case it is like that. The one person will always keep the other one make apology. So my solution for, I think, what is it? When we are don't do it on a particular pattern. When we, after a fight, maybe in the evening, before we go to sleep, we start apologizing. So then it just became a pattern, and they are expecting that. So when we are about something is denied, then they will be getting angry. So this we should not should avoid to have that kind of game.
Very good.
Mental game we should avoid.
Right.
Instead of, what we can do is, suppose right now when I have a fight with my girl Neha, daughter. So what I usually do, uh, I won't do anything for her to get into normal, but I will do all the apology or whatever after she becomes normal.
Right.
Otherwise, the thing is that they will find it as a tool to getting
Yeah.
something that. So
So you don't
that's my
pacify.
take on that.
You wait till the emotions are
Correct.
normalized and the person. It's a very good strategy, Advocate Nelson, because when people are having extreme emotions, extreme anger, extreme sadness, even extreme happiness, the logical side of the brain doesn't work. So
Yeah, that's why we are often said
correct.
don't make any decisions when you're angry or excited.
Right. In extreme situation case, when the logical side is not working, how much ever justification you try to tell people, it will not sink into their mind. Because at that point, it's the emotional state of the mind, side of the brain, which is on the peak, and it doesn't capture the logic. We have to wait till the normalcy return and that person has calmed down. And then you go and sort it out. It can happen in a jiffy. So I like that strategy that you're using. Very good, Nelson. And I like that other way of assessing, where you said a pattern should not be set, where the other person will get an opportunity to take advantage of you. When they notice that, okay, after every fight, this is one pattern that you behave, then they can take undue advantage of you, and you always end up feeling like a loser. Very good. Okay. Any other inputs? All right, so we already overshot the time quite a lot. We were supposed to, yeah,
Anija, Shailaja, yeah. I just
Yeah.
have this doubt because, as you said, you have frequent fights with or disagreements with your mother. I also do have with my mother. Usually it's during the evenings when I make a call with her. So, she takes episodes from the past and she's scratching into my conversation, and I keep telling her, let's forget the past, let's look into the future, let's forget all things. So Anita, what do you feel like when you're dealing with your parent? I don't have a father now. I have only my widow, like my mother who's widow now. So you have to. She's aged around 69 now, and I have to she's living alone, and I'm here with my family. So when I have to when I speak to her on the phone, I have to be I have to deal in such that she doesn't feel bad or upset. And I've told many times, and frankly I've told her many times, please don't take episodes from the past. It doesn't hold good anyway. So and I get, actually what happens in the end is that we both end up being angry with each other. So how do you deal with your own mother? You're helpless as a daughter. So it's just the same episodes being repeated again and again. There is no solution at all. How do you deal with an aged person who's alone and who's frustrated? What do you do as a daughter? You have an
In my
answer for
case,
this because it's a very important problem for me. Almost every
in
day.
my in my case, like I said, mom and daughter fights are pretty much very normal. And like I said, in my case,
Yeah.
our fights never, like, there's no single day that we don't go without fighting, even about the smallest things. So it's as frequent, and it could be the most serious or the most silliest things that's happening. But I would say the key to solving it all is basically
Yeah.
communication. If you don't talk about things, nothing can be resolved. And I believe no issue can be unresolvable unless you talk about it. And for me, I have always taken the initiative to start the conversation. I don't move away or push away. Like if I have to confront, I'm like, no, I don't know. I always have confronted her, and same way with her. If something happened today morning, I will not wait for till tomorrow morning to sort it out. I will have to talk about it right today itself, and I will
I
tell
also
her,
show the
listen.
same behavior. I also show the same behavior. The thing is, like for example, like as you said, the oil. She asks you to apply oil on your hair. Same thing. Actually reminded me of my mother also. She asked me on Tuesday, do you apply turmeric on your face on Tuesdays and Fridays? I said, by God, I'm already, I'm still, I will be entering 50 in the next 2-3 years time. She is very particular about looks and everything. I said, okay, I'm applying. I don't apply on Tuesdays and Fridays. I apply, whenever I feel like applying. So, you should be
Your
applying, you should
voice
take care
is
of it,
your,
etc.
Shailaja, your voice is very breaking. Can you slowly speak? Maybe I'll be able to figure out.
Breaking up, yeah. There's a connectivity issue.
Yeah, and
Or maybe if you can
yeah.
switch off
No,
your
what I was
video, it
saying
will
is
be
that
better.
okay, okay.
Okay.
No, what I was trying to say is that she is like a typical mother. She considers me as a 20-year-old person or a 10-year-old person and keeps on advising on things that which I already know what is to
Yeah.
be done. Mm. And it irritates me a lot. Uh, she'll say, you should apply oil every day, you should apply whatever turmeric twice in a week on your face, etc., etc. And a lot of things. Mm.
Yeah.
So as a daughter, I always keep reminding her that I have got two teenage daughters. I know how to take care of myself, etc. So there's always an irritation. It starts off with a very like happy note and all, but it usually ends in a very sad note. I try to divert the conversation, but still, she brings it back to her way of topic. Like she chooses a topic, and then I have to keep on disagreeing with you. So how do you manage such people? How do you?
In
Because
in
she's
in
very
in
close.
my
She is my mother.
in my case also, my mom is someone who in Malayalam we say "Nyan pidicha muyalil moonu kombu." So basically, my mom is also of the same category. That what I say is always true, and
Okay.
sometimes she never lets go of her side of the story. So in this aspect, I try to
Yeah.
bring a third person, which is my dad. Mostly, whenever see these sorts of arguments happen, it's either my brother, my mother, my dad. We actually tend to have a third person also in the discussion. So let's say today also, I just discussed with my dad about
Mm.
something that I had with my friend, and how my mom was calling. So I was like, Dad, let her come today around 9 o'clock. Let her come. We need to talk. So basically, it's a round table
Mm.
conference with a third person who will also show his
Okay.
perspective. He'll be like acting like a mediator. It could be
Mm-hmm.
anyone who understands both of you. It could
Okay.
be a brother, cousin, brother, anybody. So
Mm-hmm.
I will lay out my point. I will tell her, see, I'm going to narrate my side of the story, and once I'm done, you can narrate why you did the same or why you said the same things. And we both say,
Okay.
and then my dad acts as a mediator. She'll say,
Mm-hmm.
okay, you said this, but you would have hurt your mother by doing this. She just wants your betterment, and he will give me her feedback same way. He will also tell her. It's not, I
Mm.
wouldn't say it will be always 100% she will accept it, because her mothers are mothers, trust me.
Yeah, yeah.
she will
I know.
she will not let go. and and more or less it's only us who have to like adjust with it, because she is old now. Okay, she is
Mm-hmm.
almost 60 years old. I have much more to go. Maybe I can change more than she can now, right?
Yeah. Can
Mm-hmm.
I
So
Yeah.
add
so
something?
like,
Yeah.
yes, please do.
Yeah. And as looking at what Shelja has just said, for me, for with my experience, I have recognized. I also have. I mean, my mother who's getting older day by day. I have realized that acceptance is the key when we are dealing with them. because they are growing old. They have been
Yeah.
used to a certain way of living, a certain way of thinking. So it will be, I would say, wisdom on our part as their children, as young people who are more adaptable and more resilient to situations. Wisdom on our end, looking at their age and accepting the fact that living for 60, 70, 80 years the way they have been, it'll be advisable for us to become more
Change.
adaptable
Yeah.
rather than and adaptable to change
Expecting them
rather
to.
than expecting them to change. So the
Yeah,
moment
that's.
you accept, it, that they are old and they are doing it out of their care and concern for you, and even if they are doing it 10 times, 20 times, it is just a matter of accepting and building that patience in us to accept what they are doing. I mean, I always remind myself of when I was a child, maybe I would have asked her the same question 10 times, but she gave me the answers patiently, the same answer patiently. What is this? This is a crow. What is this? This is a crow. So it is now our turn to return that
Yes.
patience
Also,
to them and
yes,
listen
I'd
to
like
them,
to.
however they may repeat, however many number of times they may repeat it. But that's if you accept that, you will be able to change your way of dealing with them, and they will feel better, because I mean, when they grow old, it's only acceptance and listening that they need from us. Yeah, so
Yeah.
that's my way of thinking and dealing with
Yeah,
them.
exactly what Adya said. Exact same thing I would want to give with an example. My mom always expect me, like whenever we go out, she wants me to wear a bindi, she wants me to tie my hair, not open hair, and she wants me to not wear sleeveless and everything. So what I do is, I used to be in Bangalore. So when I'm working in Bangalore, no issues. But whenever I come back hometown, whenever I go out, I make sure I wear a bindi, I wear, I tie up my hair for her happiness, just for her happiness. Because
Mhm.
like Adya just said, she's old enough now. She can't really change her, her concepts now. But I am still able to do it, even if it's for a temporary basis. If me doing that makes her happy, why not? Just for a little while, fine. She wants me to tie hair, I'll do it. It's a simple thing. I will try
Mhm.
and inspire her sometimes, but when I say it's better to give up, then yeah, fine. I'll just consider and accept her for what her thoughts is. That's fine.
Yeah.
I would like to tell my input here. I mean, Shailaja, Anija, and Adya. I love that acceptance part from Adya. Accept that they are like that. But I would like to advise, before accepting them as they are, I would like you to ask one question, which is find out the intention behind them. Why is it
Yes.
that they keep on pestering you? Why is it that they keep finding fault in you? Is it because there could be a lot of reasons? The most popular I've noticed among elders is they want attention. Okay, they want you to talk to them, even if it is to fight. Okay,
Yeah.
they want to be to be to you for they want you to have them running in your mind all the time. Probably that could be one reason. The second
I
reason.
agree with you, Arun.
Yeah, so when we try to look into the intention behind the words and the action, not just of the elders, but of anyone, we will probably find the easier solution where
Yes.
we do not have to judge them only by the words and acts. Look beyond that. Why is it that
Yes.
my mom is adamant? Is it because it's a problem with my mom? For example, I'm taking an example from Anija. Anija said her mom wants her to wear a bindi and tie her hair when she goes out, when she's in the native place. It is not because your mom probably wants it that way. She probably wants you to enjoy the freedom, but probably she's considering the society which is around, the social norms, or probably the pressure that she's undergoing because of the neighbors or probably the society around. So that you are protected and you don't get blamed or you don't get a bad name in the society. Maybe that could be the reason behind her to tell. It's not because she hates you to see you like this, because at home she's allowing you to do that, I believe. So അങ്ങനെ നമ്മൾ ലോജിക്കലായിട്ടൊന്ന് തിങ്ക് ചെയ്യാൻ നോക്കുമ്പോൾ when you tend to put
Yes,
logic
definitely.
into it, probably you will see a pattern. This could be the reason. So if the elders are grabbing your attention, okay, it is possible that if you've probably spent 10 quality minutes with them in a day where you give them undivided attention, probably this particular pattern of irritating you, finding faults with you will come down. I have tested it with a couple of my clients and it has worked wonders. Okay, Good.
Mm.
So, as a wind-up note, I would like to thank all of you. It's been a long session, but I'm sure it has been helpful for many of us. Thanks a lot, Anija, for the pain that you took in creating a wonderful content, and it was really engaging, and we could actually get a lot of learning from what you said. Thanks a lot for this.
And thank you, Arun, for giving me an opportunity. I never knew, because I've always been a software engineer, I never knew I was good at, imparting knowledge and sharing experience that could bring use to some other people. I never thought. He's the one who actually told me I'm good for these sort of jobs. So yeah, it was my first trial, and thank you for giving me an opportunity to try it out.
I think for the first time, you did a pretty good job.
Yeah,
Yeah.
well done. Very well done for a first time. Congratulations.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank
that
you.
is always the first time for everything. All right. So
Yeah.
thanks
Very
a
good.
lot, team. And we'll meet
Arun,
again in the
Arun,
coming week
hi.
with a new session on something, and probably it will
Yeah.
be an informal session. Let's have a storytelling session. Somebody from our team can nominate yourself to share some life experiences, some stories that you want to share with people. We'll make it a bit more.
Stories. Okay.
You can nominate.
Yeah, Arun, I want to say something.
Adya?
Yeah, I want to say something.
Yes.
Loads of, lots of appreciation for dear Meenakshi. She's been sitting on your lap all the while, and she's been so patient, not understanding a word that's going on. So a lot of appreciation to her. I mean, you need to give her a treat.
No, actually, she was engaged. She had a paper and a pen, and she was engaged
Yeah.
in doing that.
But that too.
Adya,
But
Adya,
that too,
one correction is there. One correction. One correction. But who told you that she is not understanding anything? Who knows? She must be understanding all these things. She may
She
be.
grabs very well. And we have noticed that she may be sitting here watching TV, and the conversation which Indu and I have, she observes and she replies from there. And we are like, oh my God, there is no
But
privacy.
still, I mean, I deal with children, and being a teacher, I deal with children every day. But for a child her age to be so steady and so focused for all that time in anything that she was doing, and then
Adya, how you
sitting so patiently there, that is really commendable. I mean,
she
treat
has
her
her
from
time
my
of
side.
the day where she's the boss, and now she knows
Yeah.
what I'm caught up here. Indu is caught up in the kitchen on a call, and she's making the dinner.
Yeah.
So Indu is not
Okay.
able to take care. That's why I asked her to come and sit on my lap, and she's engaged.
Yeah.
Book.
But actually commendable. Had I been there, I would have passed on a chocolate to her. So it's your duty now to do that.
We don't give her chocolates. We give her,
Yeah.
natural stuffs, but
Yeah.
not.
Yeah, something nice, maybe
A gift
homemade.
from Adya would be good.
Yeah. Sure.
Thanks a lot, dear. So see you all next week. Take care.
Okay.
Yeah.
Stay blessed.
Bye bye.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Happy weekend.
Thank
Bye.
you.
Bye.
Thank you all. Happy weekend.